and Little T. Welcome, both of you. Obviously, you guys are big Star Wars fans. I had to have you guys on at some point to talk about Skeleton Crew specifically. But if there's anything else coming up or that come up during the conversation, other Star Wars related, we can talk about it all. So before we dive right into the conversation, I just want to say thanks for being with us. And now's an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. I'm Big T,
I'm Lil T.
Little T, Todd and Trent. Although Trent is getting, we're joking, he's getting taller. So it's like at some point, I'm going to turn into Little T and he's going to be Big T. But
It would just be funny, like, oh, are you Lil T? No, I'm Little T.
right. You know how like some big guys are called tiny. That's kind of how it's going to be. Like we feel like Trent is just whatever. But yeah, so we are a father and son podcast, and we talk mostly about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And whatever else we want to talk about,
Yeah.
video games or anything pop culture, whatever. And we started actually in 2019 around The Mandalorian.
I still debate about it.
He debates about when we started.
We kind of started. We did like a little bit of it. Like,
Yeah, well, we both went to Celebration Chicago.
We truly started
Nice.
in 2019.
And we were able to get into the Mandalorian panel. And right away, I'm just like, this is going to be something special. So that's where I was already podcasting a little bit. And I was like, do you want to do this? And so that's why we wanted to kind of, talk about the shows and stuff like that. And that's how it started. And here we are still. There's a lot of Star Wars content out there. So it's always good to talk about things like that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the good things. Obviously, I'm a big Disney fan. One of the good things, I guess, about Disney taking over Lucasfilm and such is there's been no shortage of content.
Yeah, but is it all good?
Ways.
Is it?
It goes both ways.
It works, but no, I agree. I think again, like Disney does a really good job,
But they should do better.
but they should do better.
They nailed it on.
Well,
they nailed it.
That's where it gets a
Mandalorian.
little. Yeah, that's where it gets a little weird because it's like we call it KK. Kathleen Kennedy. Like, if you look at the amount of stops and starts on many projects, it's kind of rough, And then, in fact, even when you look at the 3 movies that they announced at last Celebration, none of them are any closer to being done. And in fact, the one that they didn't mention, Mandalorian Grogu, is the one that's getting done first before the 3. And it's like, guys, what are we doing here?
And
what?
Maybe the worst name for a movie.
Oh, don't even get me started. It's like
The worst name.
It's like
Mando Grogu, the Adventures of the.
It's like it's like 4 stupid Star Wars fans that don't know. Like give me any 3-letter word dash a Star Wars story, and it's better than. Or you could say dash a Mandalorian Grogu story
or Tail.
I would be good with that, but
Mando Grogu.
That's all you came up with it? It's almost like, what are we going to call this? Well, right now our title is Mandalorian Grogu, and they're just like, oh, we're running with it.
It's like Beavis and Butthead. It's like, oh, it's like the Beavis and Butthead, like on their background, like, oh, let's do this.
Yeah, it's just the dumbest name.
Stupid.
Dumbest name. So,
but it's not as. No, it's like one dumbest.
It's it's the dumbest.
Yeah. Do you know it'd be another if they really want to get like Star Wars fans on board with Disney Plo Koon, like a Plo Koon show.
Oh yeah, we're already he wants to do a Plo Koon show. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, man.
We need to get you on the creative team.
Yeah, right.
I'd love to see that.
Well, clearly no one was creative with that title, but that's okay.
Dirge would be another one. Dirge. Like all like the small like cameos, but they play such a big role and you like Boba Fett, they like for like 70s, was it like 30 something years?
Oh, let's not even get with Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett was like I actually have deja vu, and I know this is true.
Right.
That it was probably just like a made up story, but it was it was like it was kind of similar, but it was like the
What's
whole
your made up story?
it was on the YouTube.
Oh, it's on the YouTube.
So basically, it kind of has
course.
it has the same thing, and you kind of see Stormtrooper and all that stuff. But it was a little different. But I feel like they should have done like a whole episode, like trying to like
Look, they should have spent a whole episode
Try-
of Boba in the Sarlacc pit.
yeah, like looking through his anatomy. You know how like
Ugh.
big it is.
It's such a waste.
So, well, the good thing was like you saw
Good thing he's still alive. Check. Great.
we saw the Rancor. That was
The
awesome.
Rancor was cool. Yes, there and we
And
got to see twin Jabbas. We got to see Chrysanthemum.
Mm.
There's a lot of good, but then slow moped racing and
the
then
slow speed chase.
yeah, and then like I mean, did you not see the speeder bike chase in '83? I mean, but the Rancor was cool.
I like
Rancor,
that.
Rancor is dope.
I like how they did with the what's it called, the Tusken Raiders. That was
Yeah,
sick.
Tusken Raiders was cool. The music, that was the best thing. When the show started, we would dance around like in a little circle and have our own like Indian dance. It's great because I mean, Tusken Raiders are kind of Native people, Native American people.
I love how they do
love
sign language.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
love that was all cool, and then like the fact that at the end he's like they all laughing, eating fruit, and like I don't know if I want to do this, and it's like then why did we have a whole show about it? He's like Major Domo Shmomo or DeMaio or whatever he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyways.
one thing I think we can all agree, I think,
Yeah.
that wasn't a waste and didn't squander its opportunity was Skeleton Crew.
Way to bring this in, Chris, because we go on tangents. So thank you.
I'm all for the tangents, but
He mentions Disney, and then we're going on a rant for like 10 minutes. So sorry. Keep us on track, Chris. It's your show.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I set you guys up for it, and then
Yeah,
just
you did.
sat back. But
You did. Yeah, right.
but I thought that, and I'm really looking forward to getting some different perspectives, especially some youth perspective on this show, because
You did youth.
you're the youth.
Yeah.
Because on
Youth
top of
of the
everything else, most of the people that I've talked with about this are also adults. And this
Yeah.
show, in a lot of ways, I mean, it's looking at the galaxy through the eyes of kids.
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to be great to get some of your perspective and on what really worked with this show and what ultimately I think made it a success. So I first off,
Yeah.
I'm just going to start by saying that this was like the perfect palate cleanser. Like this was the perfect thing for Disney to do, something that was just straight up fun after
Acolyte.
especially after the Acolyte.
Oh, what do you mean? I was like, the only good thing. Actually,
Oh,
that's
we're
serious.
gonna
Trigger.
get
The
we're gonna
only
get
that-
an Acolyte.
Yeah.
The only thing
sorry.
that Disney did right.
The lightsaber battles were
That was awesome. I don't like how they make it more family friendly. I'm like, okay, George would have.
family friendly's fine.
It's fine. George would have did so much different stuff. Like if the Acolyte, he would probably done something like
I just
probably
didn't.
something like old jet. Or like something like old Old Republic, or like he could have I like how the only thing they did right was like the lightsaber battle, because the kebab, the slice in half, the step. That's how I'm not lying.
Those were good.
I don't like how in movies they get tapped barely and they're dead. And I'm
Yeah.
No, you have to pierce
like
something.
Kit Fisto and Ethkoth.
Or no, it's supposed to be like a samurai. You just if you want to jump up, you just split them in half. Or like how
Yes.
Johnny Fallen Order, how they do the attacks. I love how they do that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's how it's supposed to be.
So, anyways, good planet palate cleanser. Okay, so I'll take it to Acolyte and then go to Skeleton Crew. Like there was a couple mystery boxes that Skeleton Crew kind of worked through the whole season. And I don't mind the Acolyte kind of going back and forth, but like to me, the mystery is already solved in episode 2. I was like, oh, it's this her arms bearer, drug whatever he was to her. I was like, that is the guy. That's the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. Like there was no other opportunity to make any other judgment. Like that's the guy. And then, oh yeah, he's the guy. I'm like,
Yeah, and also
it's almost as obvious as, Senator Palpatine, like he's the emperor. It's like, well, if you know the casting, that is, Ian McDermott, that's him. He's the Phantom Menace.
and also I don't like the guy from Squid Game.
Yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
guy from Squid Game.
Yeah,
I
he
haven't
was
watched Squid
good.
Game. He
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah,
but
he
I
was
just-
awesome.
I feel like he had more potential.
And they threw it on him.
Right.
Ugh.
They did him dirty.
They did him dirty, and again, I'm not, we can get in the Fall of Jedi at a different time, but I mean, there is a slow degradation of like their character, but the fact that she outright threw it on him and like was about to lie to Yoda, like, hey, this is what happened over here.
But Yoda is more,
Yoda's like,
bro. It's like trying to talk to like.
he
like
is
a
the
vet.
Grand Master Jedi. He's like the biggest Jedi.
Yeah, no, I would love. I feel
All
like
right. Well, this is not the Acolyte show. We got to get back to Skeleton Crew. So, but I liked the one thing that I really liked about Skeleton Crew is they set things up throughout all the episodes. And again, there's still some stuff hanging at the end, but a lot of them were really, really
yes.
answered throughout the show. And
Mhm.
I really did enjoy that piece of it for sure.
The only thing I have against Skeleton Crew is the kids. Not the casting or all the potential of the kids. Like I know, like they're just kids, but it would have been cool if they did like something like have more like try to fight, not just like get like thrown to the side or like
Oh,
try to have more potential. Try to actually have a fight, or like how Jawas are, like they just try to tackle you, or like
yeah,
how Jawas try to tackle you. Like,
they do. Jawas were throwing rocks at Mando.
Yeah,
Like,
I
get
know.
out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be fun if they did something like that, but they didn't. So,
Well,
from a kid's perspective,
but again, these kids are just thrown into the adventure, and I mean, he knows what a lightsaber is, but he's never held a lightsaber like Wim. And then like that one where they get in the treasure one, he has it like backwards or
He
whatever.
likes it. Yeah, he likes
It's like
it into the
good
floor.
thing he wasn't doing like the porks were doing on Last Jedi. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought that. Yeah, I think you're right from the standpoint of these kids weren't necessarily,
Trained.
prepared for an adventure. They
Right.
were kind of thrust into it.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely certainly they're learning as they go and really.
Yeah, that
picking
makes
it up
sense
as they
too.
go
So
along.
and let's tie it into Lord of the Rings. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So Sam, like we just watched we're rewatching Lord of the Rings for like whatever. But in the Two Towers, they talk about like all the great stories all the tales they read and what the tales would be for them, and Samwise the Brave and stuff like that. But the stories in the book are different than the real world, and Wim and kids are like, Wim is like, our adventure was a lot different, and it was a lot more harder than I thought it was than just a storybook. And so I love that progression, like the reality, like, man, some of this stuff is not as cookie cutter as it is, and it's not as glamorous as in a storybook, So
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. And again, way at the end of the credits, you get to see his storybook, and then you get to see them at the end, and they made their own story, which I thought was
Yeah.
chef's kiss,
Yeah. And the only
Oh.
not trying to backtrack or anything, but Acolyte.
There we go. Here we
It was
go.
kind of weird how they did like the witch thing, like all the mothers or whatever.
Yeah,
That one like girl who's like, you can't be in the woods. It's like it's the woods.
you're talking about Karen. Yeah,
that Karen Jedi or the other one where it's like,
Karen's sister
or whatever.
yeah.
She's like, you can't be in the woods. I will.
I know.
I will climb a tree and be
let's
a
just
child."
cleanse. We're cleansing.
Yeah.
All right, Skeleton Crew. Yes.
Skeleton Crew is awesome.
Yeah, and one of the things, obviously, this being a pirate show, it kind of like dove into the seedy underbelly of the galaxy a little bit, which was something that, truthfully, I was expecting more of from the Book of Boba Fett. So I was getting a
Yeah.
little bit of something that I was expecting previously. And I thought that they did a really nice job. There were obviously callbacks to other pirate stories and stuff like that. You've even got like SM-33 looks a lot like Smee. So there's even like a Peter Pan kind of
Yeah.
tie
Yep.
in there.
And his head almost looks like a bandana, and obviously I have to say it really
An eye
slow.
patch.
Jod Wood. His
No.
Captain Silvo was like a pirate hat helmet thing, which was kind of cool.
And what's it? They used the original designs for George. Did not want to, he wanted to have his own idea, not copy. It was like for the Millennium Falcon, it's like the long.
Oh yeah, that was in the
Hmm.
Spice,
What was it?
the Pirate Cove thing. They had the original Falcon as one of the ships, and then again, that's like Pirates of the Caribbean, where they all come to meet, and you got all the ships there tethered. I really loved.
And I
love the Pirate Island. I thought it was like
Yeah.
really cool.
It was
really
cool.
cool.
It was funny. Like it was like
And even like explain like the cannons part, where like the cannons are, but if there's a pirate ship, they're okay. I like that part too.
what do you mean?
You were gonna say something. Sorry.
What I like a breather treatment or like the mask or like
Oh, when they're doing drugs.
they're like, oh yeah.
He's like, Dad, what are they doing? I'm like, well,
They-
I think they're smoking some space tobacco or something. I don't know.
No, it like a quick cameo of Snoop talking to him.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, like
For sure, Chris, for sure, Chris, for sure.
for show. Hey, we also got a tattoo droid. I was like, I'm all for this.
But how would he get tattoos on him? Do you think
because
they're
he's a
press-ons?
Hey,
Do you think they're press
you never trust a tattoo person that never doesn't have any ink on themselves.
True, but
So
also,
if a droid has some ink,
but how would
he
he have
hardcore? Are you hardcore?
But how would he have ink? With,
Lasered etch, bro.
that is true, or press-ons. There's like
No,
Press-ons.
he's some rub off tattoos. He's got laser etched.
that's
his
probably
armor.
is true laser
Yeah.
etch.
Anyways, see, I'm so sorry, Chris. We got so
No,
many
this
tangents.
this is great. I mean,
One more thing about the acolyte. No.
no, but and one thing that I thought was this show it blended a lot of fun with a little bit of intrigue. Was there a time when you ever kind of like you were just like, okay, this is what AT-ATN is, and this is or I feel like it kept you wondering
On
just
suspense.
enough. It kept just enough of a mystery that it really kept you hooked.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like Acolyte, I kind of knew episode 2 was already done. This one, I'm like, there's enough there, and like I said, they answered some stuff along the way. But one of the biggest things was we were like, okay, is Jod like a pirate, a Jedi, a bad guy, or what was our fourth one? It was like bad guy, good guy, Jedi, or pirate.
Yeah,
That was our kind of our 4. Like we didn't know where he sat, and I thought Jude Law did a fantastic job of just trying to. Is a very complex character, and I love that about him. And I mean, at the end, was a pirate. He's a pirate, just looking to score big, and that's a big thing. Georgie likes big things like that, like greed and stuff like that. That's leads to the dark side,
Yeah, and it was cool how that it was like the gas planet, but it was an inner planet in there.
Yeah, that was a cool concept too.
And also, I was like, who's running the place? It's a droid.
Yeah, we're like, who is the supervisor?
It's Skynet, bro. It's
it was Skynet. we were like, early on, I'm like, what is going? This seems very like you can tell like the adults were very submissive and just following orders, but then it's like, who's running the show? And they really speak very highly of the supervisor. Like it almost had that kind of Wizard of Oz kind of feel, and that's what I was kind of like as the thing was like rotating around in the last episode. I'm like, is it going to be like a tiny little alien or something or whatever? It just like in Men in Black, where it's the little tiny alien.
Oh yeah, actually,
yeah.
Those guys actually speak Huttese. Actually, in Men in Black,
They do.
they speak
Oh,
Huttese.
the
Oh,
guys in the
yes.
break room are they're
Yes.
speaking Huttese.
I watched
yeah.
a little short of it. In Men in Black. they
yeah.
have a lot-
Is that where you got your
Huttese.
idea? He's
No.
like, Dad. He comes down to. He's like, Dad, I need to speak Huttese.
No, it was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe
Oh.
Rogan. Some guy's like he's on he's doing like a thing because of the street art. He's like, he did the art. It's like, anywhere in the world there's usually art like graffiti.
Yeah.
So he did it. He's like, I just would like to be in there. So he learned the art language for the art and stuff. But
And then he learned Huttese.
no, he was gonna say it normally, but he's like, I'm gonna do an extra, and he learned Huttese. And the guys are like, you just did it extra. Like they're like, you're just you're like an extra, like just you just
Doing,
did
over the top.
overkill.
Hey
And,
man,
and
if
he
you're
didn't
gonna nerd
accept
out.
the paycheck, and he did not accept the paycheck.
Wow.
That was
So, but you still want to learn Huttese?
yes, it's like it's
I
just
mean,
how,
who doesn't? That should be
it's
a
a
good.
cool,
It's a
cool like
language.
it's like. It's I don't know, but he
Ichuta. Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
how he said it's just like, oh my gosh, that's so
Dewanawanga. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Yeah.
All right, now I think we've got to talk about our favorite dude, Neil.
Oh,
I mean,
Neil, where's Neil?
the-
We got, no, yeah, we have the Lego Neil.
all right.
Yeah.
I
He's
mean,
he's like Sam, bro. He's Sam.
Oh
He is
gosh,
Sam.
I just love. I mean, Neil in the bubble bath twice. I mean, you just
I like how
his baby brother, sister, them
the-
watching
the
the
dad.
holiday special.
That was awesome.
right.
And I like the dad. The dad was like,
Yeah,
he
the
was
dad didn't say anything. He was just like,
he was
hey.
like, and I like how he had like the girl liked him, like from being like that one girl with like from an up straight battle zone, like Neil like showed kindness and just like
Oh, you're talking about
I
the
felt something
other
like that.
planet, yeah. Oh, thanks, bud. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, like, I really just love Neil. Neil Nation all the way, bro.
no, you
Neil
just have a
Nation,
banner. We love you. Neil."
We stand for Neil.
No, Dad said
Just like a big picture of his face, you know.
no,
I
it
would
would be
do it.
fun. Like Dad said, if Neil's with her,
That should be a celebration. Somebody should have like a Neil Nation.
yeah.
And I think that one of the things that made that character so great and what people were able to gravitate towards was also how real he looked. He didn't look like you're looking at somebody wearing the practical effects and then the special effects on top of it just made it feel like you're looking at.
Yeah.
Do we know what species he is?
He's not our Max Rebo, which is like
Right,
a
exactly.
Ortolian. I don't know if
Wait,
they
look
named.
wait. Do you want to do?
I'll
No,
do
it's
it.
right
Cool.
here.
Last time I checked, it was like unnamed, but
Yeah.
So is Yoda.
But you felt like you were watching, a character, who was that alien, not somebody wearing a mask. And I know that you're a fan of Brutus as well, but he was
Brutus
one
the
that
Barber
honestly,
Beefcake, man. That Brutus was so great.
Honestly, Brutus kind of took me out of it a little bit because there were some times where it didn't quite work for me. Like I felt like I was watching a guy who was wearing like a werewolf mask, whereas with Neil,
I could see that.
With
just
Neil, it
loved
was
his
so
voice.
seamless,
Yeah, Neil.
And he looks like he had like fake.
Don't be messing with Brutus, bro.
But that's what podcasts are opinions.
Well,
Like-
sometimes your opinions are wrong. That's okay.
Like Daft Punk. That's the only it's the only right. Like I'm sorry. Sorry.
Why are we talking about that?
Because I remember, like, oh yeah, we were talking about some conversations, like we were talking about some conversations, like, oh yeah, Daft Punk is the only right band, like for like electronic music. Or
It's
something.
really, they're really good. But Brutus, you're right. Brutus is a little, but I think that was just the design of his species in particular. I mean, because like in the Cantina scene, there's two different wolf guys, and they both are like Halloween masks. One has red eyes, one has normal eyes, and I forget the other species off the top of my head. But anyways, so he kind of keeps that same look and feel. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I
I mean,
but I
think that
agree. Neil Neil Seamless. You can't tell me if it's the legacy effect or CGI. I mean, that mask was awesome.
Yeah, and also,
And he had like a little mouth underneath his.
I thought he,
Right.
in my opinion, I thought he wanted to talk like somebody.
Yeah. At first, he was like, when we first saw the trailer, I don't think Neil spoke
No.
in any of that, and we're like, I wonder if he's just going to speak alien and it's going to be all subtitle. And I was like, I could see that, but at the same time, it would be hard if 3 kids are talking basic English and this one of the guys talking, whatever.
Yeah, but you know,
But it was cool. I think it was the right choice.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing about Neil, scratch that. The one thing I saw, like the new Prey movie in Predator, so they got this whole like 8-pound mask on him. To look up, he had to look down all the way, and it was like very electronically. I'm like, oh yeah, it's like it looks like Neil, because it's like, how would he do, like, would it be like an actual face, or you have to look down to look up? It's like up to down. It's like,
well, yeah, I mean, but they probably did very similar. I know we saw some shots of like I forget the actor's name, but he was not wearing a mask on some of it, and they did mapping. So it's kind of old school, like Jar Jar. I mean, basically, Ahmad Best had the little hat with the those famous ones, so they get the eye line right. But then they do one with him in it, one out with a, like they do all the different takes to get him
actually
to look
about
good.
Jar Jar, he's people.
Oh boy,
people. There's a theory that Jar Jar's the Sith. He's with the Sith.
Oh, here we go. Well,
it makes sense.
It's a story for a different day.
No, but he acts very stupid. So they're like, oh, you just like some.
Yes, the fool gets overlooked, and it's actually the main bad. That's a very.
But what were you gonna say? We got time.
That was the original intention of Jar Jar, yes, but because of the fan backlash, they scratched it all.
But it's a fun theory. It's a fun.
It's a fun theory. It's a fun theory. Yeah, there's a lot of hints in the Phantom Menace where kind of like a drunken master.
Yeah, that is actually a style.
He's like, yeah, he's very klutzy, but all of a sudden he's like taking out battle droids with his foot or something. It's like,
yeah, that is actually a technique that you drink and try to sit. No, I'm not. No, you drink and you're trying to stay up and trying to fight. That's like you're hiding your senses.
Hey man, you watched any?
Wasn't there a Jackie Chan movie about that?
I think there was.
And there's new. I want to watch the Jackie Chan movie. I don't know what's called, but
well, the new Karate Kid, he's in it.
Yes, that's
in
cool.
it. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Skeleton Crew.
No, it's
I think we should change our podcast to tangents. Yeah, fun facts and tangents.
That's what the T stands for, right?
Right, tangents
and little tangents.
Yeah, right. Yeah, big tangents and little tangents. Exactly.
So I also thought, going back to that last episode, when they're I really thought that they did a nice job of tying like Order 66 into that a bit, where the
credits,
the supervisor is wise to that at that point that the Jedi are supposedly enemies of the Republic. What I thought was interesting was the message stopped there, and there was nothing about it switching over from the Republic to the Empire. So there's also a little, they left a little bit of intrigue there. It's like, well, why didn't it go all the way?
Right. Why didn't the satellite umpleak not working for you or what?
And it's cool.
Yeah, that was cool because like
two things.
He called him out like he was a liar, which he was.
Two things.
Yes.
The Imperial credits. That was cool how they got the Imperial credits.
Well, 1,000... it was actually High Republic.
Same thing. They're both Republic.
Republic credits, yeah.
And you said that like when they're trying to set up the beacon so they can like reach the kids. That's from E.T.
The beacon.
That's right.
The beacon looked like E.T., like the E.T. ship. That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a few like Spielberg kind of.
I mean, the first episode right out of the gate, I was like, this is like E.T. They're in it's in the forest. They got the flashlights. I'm like, man, E.T. flashbacks. I really thought they did a really good homage. I mean, because it is, a lot of people say, it's like Goonies in space or whatever, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Goonies today because we were talking about Sean Austin, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
oh yeah, he's in Goonies, which I have to let you see, but it's the 80s PG, which is basically
Like-
this huge breath of whatever could happen in there. And I was
Yeah.
like, we're almost there. We're almost, yeah.
Should I
Like-
maybe watch this again first just to make sure?
But
Because
you know,
the 80s PG, before they came PG-13, was just like so large. It's like,
oh yeah,
yeah. They
Yeah.
say all this stuff, and it's like, oh,
oh yeah,
okay.
this kid just like it's like
like
one character
like
just-
Gremlins is a perfect example of like, hey, let's watch Gremlins. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about the blender, and like, I was
the
like,
microwave.
this is a PG movie, and the microwave.
And the guy gets eaten.
Yeah.
And like they're smoking cigarettes at the bar. I love Gremlins. It's just
yeah, the 80s,
and I love how like in the movie,
80s PG movie.
I love how in the bar they're just like yeah, and they're just like drunk as hell. They're like yeah, they're just having the best time of
See?
their life.
See, 80s PG, can't go
The
wrong.
80s were a wild
That
time.
was a wild time.
I was
Wild
born
time.
in the wrong generation.
Well, the only other tangent Gremlins shares with Back to Future. It's the same.
Timeline? Oh
No,
yeah.
town. It's
Huh.
literally,
The same town.
you're like, oh, Marty McFly went 88 miles an hour right down here.
Yeah. But not trying to get on a sidetrack, but like, but
We
I
haven't
feel
done that at all. This
Yeah,
episode.
we just haven't done that at all.
No, we
Yeah.
haven't really.
Yeah.
But I feel like the original Gremlins is the best. The second one was okay.
That is a classic thing with movies. That's
Yeah, like, but the only T2 that like T2 like aliens, like the preferred, like yeah, it's more action packed, more like
Empire Strikes Back. I rest my case. Case
That's
closed.
okay.
Case closed.
Okay, so it's
Case closed.
Yeah.
What else did you like about Skeleton Crew?
I like how they early and like I like how they kind of like did like oh these guys are just like trying to understand like hey we're going to this place where all the pirates are
Mhm.
and it's like oh there's different like guys what are you trying to figure out like oh have I recognized that guy what are they doing like they kind of did well with the species
Yeah,
and,
there's a
like,
great
the
mix of
amount-
species.
yeah like in like some movies
I mean, we had Reese with a blown out socket, so you only had three. You only had two eye sockets in
Yes.
that one. I was like, dude,
and I was wondering,
Great.
what like okay, why is everybody going so crazy about up here credits? Like that makes sense. Like oh, like I like how they perfect example. Like hey, here's a perfect example like a Pokemon card. Like say
Oh.
like hey, this is like insanely rare. They're like oh my god, like just like collectors like oh my gosh, that's insanely good, or like something insanely rare. Like everybody knows. It's like oh my
yes.
gosh.
So the High Republic credit was very
yeah,
rare.
and everybody
when
just
they-
like and they're
they're
like,
like,
oh this is
this
my
is like pure gold or whatever it is.
and it's
you
like, oh, I use this for my lunch money. Like,
Exactly.
for lunch money.
It's lunch money.
Yeah.
But I liked, I mean, the contrast of the first score when they go in and they raided that ship, and there's
It was-
only like one credit, Then when you finally get to AT-AT and you understand, like, there's a THX 11. They said there's 1,138 more volts of the same thing, and this the amount of credits that it's unfathomable. It's just like
Brilliance.
they've just been pretty money since the High Republic days, and it's like
Right.
no one checked up on this, or they,
Nobody
But-
was
but it
wondering
makes-
why.
we're just gonna keep on making this, okay? I mean, it's insane amount of credits.
It's just stupid.
It's just stupid
but it
money.
was also it's like okay, when
Like when he, I just love his little shot where he like grabs one and it just starts falling. I'm just like,
oh.
there's just so many.
And also,
credits.
I don't understand how the parents are like, oh yeah, this guy just took care of our kids, and like, for me, I'm very empathetic, where I can tell like, oh that guy, something's going wrong. I can tell, Like
That's true. You have Jedi senses. It's true.
and it's weird how they didn't sense it. Like, oh yeah.
The adults.
And the adults, like, you see the kids like looking up at the parents, the face like oh, have you not like learned like, oh, that's happy, that's nervous,
But they
that's-
do learn a lesson, and Wim's dad, Wendell, he
What do you mean, Wendy?
Wendell.
He works at Wendy's.
He does not work at Wendy's. He's a level 7,
I'm level 7.
11 something or other. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
yeah, he's like
I
system supervisor or something. I don't know.
I'm a level
But
7
They
supervisor.
finally realized, like, hey, it's okay to buck authority, and stand up, and you just can't
Perfect
be
example is that
complacent.
Qui-Gon Jinn. Perfect example.
Qui-Gon
I'm not lying.
Qui-Gon Jinn should have been on the console, but he's like, no, these guys are they're sitting around talking.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna we need to set this meeting at too. Like, it's like the
Qui-Gon
most,
Jinn talks like that?
I don't know,
Oh, okay.
but it's the perfect example. Like, oh my, there's usually people that, hey, some people like, hey, I want to stick to the guidelines and just
Yes.
but Qui-Gon Jinn like, okay, I'll stick to the guidelines, but I'm gonna go weave in and out.
Yeah.
But
It's the living force.
yes, but it makes sense because it's like, they don't. It's like Qui-Gon's gonna sense it's like, hey, something's wrong at the Republic. Like something's with the High Council. There's something wrong with like.
Well, they
like,
never.
I know they don't know, but it's like they get a sense like who's in charge of this, or like like when they find out they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
Qui-Gon's more like he's good with them with the force, there are guidelines. It's not
Yes.
actual rules,
Yes.
But they make it
Yes.
sound like it's rules. Like,
Well, yeah, I think just like you can't put God in a box, you can't put the force in a box. It's something that you can't control it, right? And I think the fact that they have been following a supervisor that they haven't seen and they've never traveled off planet, it's just really fascinating.
But how do you get their food? How do you get the resources?
I think I don't know. The robots are making it. I don't know.
There's
I
like-
loved the droid designs.
That was cool.
Yeah.
The
I like
droid,
the 50s.
add-in droids are like, oh, it's so good.
With the kind of like camera.
Yeah, like the camera head. I
That was
don't know.
cool.
It really is. It's basically like the droids are security and everything like that, but they're literally watching
But they're
literally
watching.
you all the time. It's constant surveillance, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
There's-
creepy. Like
Yeah.
you don't realize at first. It's like, oh, this is cool, but like the creepy part is like when they get back and Wendell and Wim are trying to have a conversation, and the guys are in the house. It's like, dude, like go away. We need shoo.
Or like Jack Fur.
But it's to that point about not bucking authority. Wendell's just kind of okay with him being there because this is
I
just
know.
what you accept, and so
Yeah.
there's certainly there's a message in there. I think.
Yeah. Wendell forgot that
maybe
they
asking
just
a question from time to time.
yeah. Wendell forgot that they just what do they do? They stunned the guy, stunned the parents when they're trying to get the thing out. It's
Right.
I don't like how they did no, I didn't mean to say that, but I like the thing how they did like 50s 40s kind of vibe, like 30s kind of like with the art, how they did like the vibrant colors, like there's a lot of
Mhm.
pops of
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
but it's also this is straight up 80s. Like we got 80s suburb, we got
yeah.
I just
Was it 80s or 50s? I don't know.
well, it could be could be both,
because
but
I know the 50s are more colorful, there's a lot
and
dark-
more traditional.
a lot
Mm.
a lot of baby blues and a lot tans and all
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's I'm talking about not trying to be brain rot or anything,
Okay,
but
here we go.
I know there's a call in I'm not trying to be brain rot or anything, but there is called it's cameraman and Skibidi. it's in Skibidi. It's like Skibidi Toy. It's the guy has.
I'm not talking about Skibbity Toy.
I know, but
we are not getting down that.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But they have the same kind of concept with the camera head.
The camera head.
Yes, that's what I'm not trying to be oh my. There's I'm not
okay.
talking about. It's a waste of time of people watching that. But they do that. It's the camera. I was like,
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. I didn't
I
want
just love that design. I think
was
it's cool.
cool.
And then, but then also too, like the teachers were droids. It was
Yeah.
like,
Where's periods?
why do we have?
It's like AI taking over.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that where it's like the robots are kind of taking over here, and everybody's like, okay,
And
you
I
know,
don't like-
and then when they were trying to get the access code or something like that, and there's all the droid supervisors are like looking over Wendell's shoulder. I'm like, okay, this is too Big Brother for me, you know. It's a little too much.
You know,
so.
you know how fast I would have got that droid out of the house. I was on like Assassin's Creed, like almost like jump behind him, just
Yeah,
like kind of like slowly knocked him out, put him in the corner or somewhere, just like and have a conversation. Like,
have a conversation.
but like
You
okay,
can't. But that's the
But
thing.
that's the thing.
The whole system is designed about control with the robots.
Yeah, I don't care. Bring the whole army. I'm gonna take them out with the E11. Just E11.
Okay, Rambo.
Or what's the one with the? Was it like the DX?
You'll be in jail. Being
Not if I take everything out. But what's
you're not going to take all the robots out unless you pull like what they did and like destroy the supervisor.
No. What's the one? What's the one gun you have in the back that's kind of broken? It's a DL.
The DLT-19.
I love that gun. Just like on the back, like in the speeders, how they kind of have the guys in the like the turn, just like kind of like trying to raid the place. Remember when they're like?
You talking about the pirates?
Yeah.
Pirates are cool. We had a pirate song.
Fun fact about pirates.
Fun fact about pirates. Let's hear it.
Oh, he told me this that their shanties are based off a church song. No,
Yes.
shanties
Yes.
are the people who are like in churches. They kind of base off pirates. It's like
Yes, some of the church songs they adopted from shanties. Yes, because they're catchy.
So getting one other thing about the droids and the supervisor being a
Yes.
droid.
Yeah.
Did Fern's mom know that the supervisor was a droid, or
No.
like
But she said
I
don't.
got I
You
got the
kind of.
impression that she
knew. I think Wendell knew. I think the adults knew, but it was weird. It was weird when they got up there too. It was very dusty. So is like that at some point did humans or were droids supposed to be up there? Or it
Yeah.
seemed like there was other jobs to be had, but like no one cleaned the place for a while. It seemed a little weird, you know.
But there was
Yeah.
another add-in too.
Yeah, I like the Mirror World one with the French Revolution type
that-
thing.
and
I
I
thought
was
that
talking
was
about-
really
and I was-
interesting.
I was talking about the girl too. Like I like
She saw, hey,
Neil.
Neil's my man. He showed her a different side than just war and like, oh yeah, we just
And she got
play ball and have fun, and you're just like
eat hot
Neil,
pockets. Hot pockets. I think I dropped my hot pocket. Dropped my
yeah,
hot pocket.
yeah. We just
Eat pizza or just like have fun. Like
eat pizza rolls and hot pockets.
hot
Oh
pockets.
my gosh, French
And,
fries.
and really Neil introduced a softer, side to her, made her realize that
Yes.
there are still, which was in the end a theme here, that anywhere you go, wherever there's bad, you're also going to
find good.
find
right.
the good.
Yeah.
So I think, and Neil was one who really kind of carried that message, and in some terrible situations was representing the good.
Yes.
Yeah,
can we
the
talk
guy-
about we got to talk about
whose little brother, could tackle him, and
What do
yeah,
you mean?
I like the
I love how you.
we got to talk about the hermit crabs.
Oh,
yes,
Hermit crabs. I mean, so we have hermit crabs, and and we love the little space turtles in Ahsoka. I'm like, oh, they're kind of like hermit crabs. They're cool.
no.
These were legit hermit crabs. They had droid legs and droid heads.
But I like how they kind of did that. It's like
yeah, that was such a fun.
hermit crabs are made or like so they got a soft squishy body.
Yeah,
So they're
and
like,
then-
oh, I need to find a home.
Yeah,
And it's like a transformer. They're like one day they hide and they
Yeah.
transform.
yeah. But I love the big mama hermit.
And that was
crab.
actually model.
that was a Phil Tippett stop motion,
like Tauntaun, like the Tauntaun.
like the Tauntaun. Same dude. so good. I mean, the effects on here are so amazing.
about
Like
that one-
we like so Trent and I were able to go to a fan event for Skeleton Crew and saw the first 2 episodes in the theater. I mean,
so cool.
it when you see it on the big screen, it's as good as it should be on the big screen. And seeing that this is just a television show.
The only thing I did not like, baby, did not get a large popcorn.
Oh my gosh, we got it for free, dude.
It was decent size, but I prefer a large. I like to fill myself up.
We got literally a free voucher for popcorn and pop, and he looks at me and he's like, "What? Not a large?" I'm just like, "Just take the medium popcorn." Okay.
Here's the question: if you're getting the large popcorn,
Yeah.
do you have them fill it halfway and then put butter in, and then have them fill it the rest of the way?
So I don't
that's
like
my
the
wife's
liquid
special.
butter. I don't like the liquid butter.
The reason
Yeah.
because they're they're upsets it.
It upsets our stomach.
But I can handle it. I can handle it.
Yeah.
But I heard there's a trick. You put the straw and put the
We used
butter.
to do the straw technique.
But do you know?
You
But
take the straw, so you get it, and then you like pull it, and then it goes to the bottom. And
But I saw some
Yeah.
guy. I used to watch him, so he did the same thing. But he almost had to go to hospital. It's like his one of his stomach or something went upside down or something.
oh, jeez. Well,
after that, or turned
yeah.
in.
Well,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
it. Don't eat the movie butter.
But
It'll
question,
it'll turn your stomach upside down.
No, or some organ, but why did some organ?
Some organ.
But
It went upside
what's
down.
the thing you put it in the car and it cleans your window, your windshield? What's that called?
Windshield washer.
Yeah, whatever that is. It looks like they look like they put it in there. It
In
looks
the butter.
yes, it looks like
Well, it's liquid.
It's
yeah.
it looks like that. Like
It's
the
not
orange.
real butter.
I'm not saying that. It's probably manufactured in.
Yeah.
I know
Big
that.
vat.
It's 2 steps away from being plastic, really.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you fell in it, you would turn into Two-Face like in the Batman or something.
Two-Face is actually. I love in the Dark Knight how they did that with the Two-Face.
So sorry, Chris.
No,
So sorry.
it's good. So, anything else? Anything else we need to cover with Skeleton Crew?
I think I mean, we didn't talk about our hut, the resort. The resort place was super
Right.
cool.
Yeah, let's.
The hut and the mud bath.
And I love how he says no, and he just eats.
Almost eats the attendant or whatever.
But who's the guy in the bottom?
Yeah, the guy. Yeah, he was kind of cool.
He was nice. He was like, yeah, man.
I also like the idea of them building a luxury resort over something that's old. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like that idea, and I also, again, with that is where we got the junk, the hermit crabs and stuff like that. They almost everything's pristine, but over here is all the junk. I love that contrast.
I forgot to say KB. She can't do everything. The
KB part in that episode is so good too, where
she needs to melt salt.
Yeah, she almost dies, and Wim doesn't, is helping her out, but yeah, just somebody that has a disability. It's hey, I can't keep up at this pace, and again, I had a bad accident. I'm part droid or robot. I think that was a really cool moment.
The only thing I didn't like about KB's moms, the 2 moms are just.
That's okay.
I understand, but it's
yeah. But I think overall, it
was good.
That was super cool, super powerful. I also liked Bird Lady, the owl.
I know she was cool.
That planet was cool with the little. She had a little Harry Potter space library thing going on. That was cool, man.
I'm more of a Lord of the Rings person though,
but Harry Potter's okay.
It's good. I don't mind Harry Potter. I just like Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, because Harry Potter's Star Wars.
It is.
It's also it's cool from the standpoint too of it's another sentient being that isn't necessarily humanoid, but is educated and so, and you don't necessarily see that a lot either. So
yeah. I thought overall I really liked, George's big thing is like getting yourself out of a prison. That could be in your mind, or like in Luke's case, like getting off a backworld planet, experiencing more. And I really liked how the kids grew through this. And we got to see the
new
parents grow out of it too. And really from John's perspective too, it's like he didn't, like when KB almost died, when like it crashed or whatever, he didn't want that to happen. So there's like still a little good in him. And I liked he was really bad for a minute, and then he kind of like softened up at the end. Jod.
Oh, Jod.
Yeah.
He was softened up in the beginning. He was in the between. It was like more of a like he was he was more of like suspicious, and like
he's definitely sus, because every time you turn around he had a different name. Crimson Jack and Silvo and he had a different name. And then obviously when they went to the resort, the bounty hunter,
the girl in the bridge, she played what's her name? Brave,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, I like Brave. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
She didn't.
She had great. A very, but he had a different name with her. I was like, okay, this guy's not showing his full deck, because there's definitely. I mean, part of it too is just having different alibis and all that stuff. And I really like the idea too. Like, I don't think he knew who he was.
Yeah, but
because like he wanted it, like he thought he wanted the ship, he wanted to be head of the head of the pirates. And then when everything started falling apart, he almost kind of accepted his fate and like, I screwed up, but I need to do better.
It's like, what's it called? Is it Malfoy that he had like that fake identity or something, like that fake card?
Scandox?
No, it's like that in that one movie with whoever plays Scott Pilgrim. He did one movie where he had like a fake ID, like it's like bad something.
Super bad?
Yeah, remember? I'm just saying, because of the fake identity. Remember, he got the fake identity or something.
Let's the record show. Little T has never seen Super Bad.
I've seen. Right. I think I've seen Breaking Bad.
But in terms of like the different identities too, there's also, I mean, it's also kind of a survival tool,
Sure.
I mean, you get a little glimpse into where he, not necessarily where he came from, but how he ended up.
Well, it's a survival instinct. Yeah, it's a survival instinct, and just him not having a family. I mean, that all plays into like where he's at. And I loved how they were, separated, but the kids came together, all working together, at the end. It's great. But I feel like you're right. It's like a survival instinct, just
to survive.
Just to survive. You got to change your name, get what you need and move on, because he's like, he even mentions that when like, he's like, I always just was trying not to be hungry, so it's being that kind of homeless and all that kind of stuff. It's a really fun character.
Is he a Jedi?
I think he's
or Sith. No,
he's not a Sith. I think he has potential, but never got fully trained. So yeah, I think it's a really fun show. Great for kids, great for adults. It really like I said, John Knoll, our friend from the prequels, did a fantastic job with the effects. I mean, the
hermit crab.
I mean, I even liked, the Onyx Cinder. Like, we got a second ship out of that. I was like,
that was cool.
I was like, they're gonna die, and like, it's like, oh my gosh! But
don't press the button.
Yeah, don't press that button.
I kept waiting for another ship to show up at that point. And I had no idea how it was going to, and of course another ship did show up, but it was the ship they were sitting in.
Well, I was like, dude, I just bought the Lego Onyx Cinder and they're going to blow it up. And because like, it's like the people that bought the Razor Crest HasLab and they like, yeah, we're getting it. And then they blow it up. It's like, oh, so sorry. But hey, can we talk a minute about the B-Wing showing up at the end?
Yes. It's your favorite ship, right?
Oh my gosh, I was just
Or was
I
it?
was
It was B wings and E wings. Yeah, it was the E wing.
well, no, that was a B wing.
Wait, with the in where they like kind of flow and drop. It's like more of like a drop, like a bomber,
Yeah, it's got like and
like little like
I
T-Rex
mean,
arms.
I was like, oh, that's a hard flex right there. They just put that in there.
Flex
I thought that was fantastic. Again, I don't think like people are like, oh, there wasn't a big cameo. I don't think you really need it in this one. I don't think it's necessary. And again, they left enough on the like why was the mirror planet? It was pretty much the same, but then when they go to the supervisor room, there is no droid up there. So it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of I really, the great work of the High Republic. It's kind of interesting. And the bird lady talks about it like there were talks about hidden planets. And it's like, I really love the concept of the planet, the gas giant inside, and a planet inside the gas giant.
Yeah.
I loved all that kind of mystery stuff. I thought it was really well done.
It was,
and really they thought they were on a boring planet, and it actually was a very exciting planet. They just didn't know it until they got home again, which is kind of cool.
Kind of weird how the parents didn't tell them, "Hey, we're in this planet."
There's a lot of rule following. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the teacher's pet.
Dude, you mean like no one got off planet? That just seems so bizarre to me.
And also how they didn't get the transport. It's like, oh, there's like usually and like you see like a ship coming in and transporting getting out. No, they just probably make it. Like, hey,
they're all self-sustained, really.
We got
and really on top of everything else, the schools themselves were basically like indoctrination stations. So it's just like, okay, you're going to do this. This is going to be, you are going to be selected for what you're going to do as part of your great work.
Yeah, and I loved how
an opportunity to like, be like, well, I mean, Wim saying that he wanted to help people. And
I know that
literally
was so
laughed
good.
at it, like that's what the droids are for,
Right. No, but you know what? He said that at the beginning, and he was able to help like KB and others throughout the show. And I just love that arc,
Yes.
The thanks, Jedi. That KB said, just like that was one of those like
that was awesome. And then again, when Jod goes back to planet the pirates to get SM-33, and then he turns on the battle droid and he's like, did we win? And then KB says it when she comes out of the ship. She's like, that's the first thing she says.
What?
Did we win? And all the gold is coming out. All the gold's coming out of their ship, and all they care about is each other. And I think that is like money. It's no pun intended. Like, I feel like that is the core of it. Like friendship and life, trusting each other, and life goals like that are bigger than just having all the money. I love that part. I mean, money's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not everything. And I love that it's a really symbolic. It's right there on the surface. It's super symbolic with that, So
yeah. All right, well, guys, I really appreciate you taking some time with me. This was great. This was a blast. Before what's the next thing? Is Andor season 2?
Andor.
I love the grandma, like you always got like that one like neighbor or grandma's like she's like super spunky, energetic, or like she's like very like stubborn or like
fight the Empire. Oh gosh, I cannot wait.
Yes,
it's
I'm stoked.
I mean, the fact too that we're going to get like a little kind of chunks, and we're going to fast forward enough to get to Rogue One.
Rogue One is so good. The music.
The music. I know. I'm really excited to see. I mean, super surprised how everything was executed in Andor, because it's a slow burn where like Boba Fett was too fast. Like, and Andor was almost like the exact opposite. It was so slow. It's like, are they
It
gonna
was like
do
Nazis
something
almost.
here?
It was like Nazis.
But
almost,
it
like,
was so
good.
good.
And I
So good. Oh my gosh.
two things. It was
Okay.
you know how like if you play video games in China Survivor, Boba Fett when he lands, he made a bigger cameo. He made a better best appearance than his own TV show. Like it was so good. It was really good, and also
I mean, he's awesome in Mando.
I know he
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and also it was cool how they talking about Mando.
No, we're trying to wrap up here.
Okay, the cool thing about Andor, it was
Yeah.
more like Nazis. It was like
Yeah.
it was very like Nazis. There's a head guy. There's like
Yeah, the
No,
ISB.
I love how it was very based off. It was looked like they were like Nazis almost.
well, I mean, that's
Star Wars, yes,
Star Wars, yes.
kinda.
So yeah, Andor, we're excited.
And it was
April.
it was
April.
funny in Mandalorian where he's got that little apron, like the little thing when he's handing out food in like that prison escape where he's got like that one guy. He just has like handing out food. He's got like the little apron on.
In Mando?
Yes, remember when they're like when the Boba Fett gets his ship,
Uh-huh.
and they're like going through that big dam or something. They're like,
Oh, you talking about the short trooper with the tray?
yeah,
He didn't have an apron on. He was just
yeah, he had an apron.
he was in the cafeteria trying to get his food,
No,
you know?
he had an apron.
Okay.
I think.
I think.
Whatever.
Whatever.
All right. Well, guys, why don't you take a minute to let people know where they can find you, where they can listen to you, and
Yeah,
any socials that you've got out
Sure, I appreciate that, Chris. Like again, sorry for all the tangents, but we love Star Wars. We love talking about it. I think for us, you can find us Big T Little T at Big T Little T on podcast on Instagram, BLILT podcast on Twitter, and twitch.tv/Big T Little T, where we play video games and talk all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
Pretty much just what you experience here on when we play video games. So we're playing Madden right now, playing Indiana Jones, The Great Circle, which is great. But yeah, we love Fortnite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and probably after Indy, we're probably gonna start Resident Evil.
Yeah, we just love playing games, talking
Yeah.
Star Wars, and so yeah, that's where you can find us on socials.
Okay.
We do like when shows are out, we usually do weekly, but then when shows are not out, we should do it every other week, and try to keep it light and fun.
there.
Sure. Yeah.
All righty. Well, hey, guys, thanks for joining me. This was a blast, an absolute blast.
Yeah.
So,
Your shirt says it. Pew pew. Let's go, man.
so thanks again for
Thank you.
joining me. Hopefully we'll be able to do this again soon. Maybe after Andor, we can talk about that. And maybe there will be more news to talk about after
Yeah,
that,
I
but who
think
knows?
obviously celebrations in April as well, so we might get more
C2E2 is
news.
coming up.
C2E2 is coming up. That's right. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Hey, guys, great time. Thanks very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
please.
Awesome.
All right, we're
That
good?
was-
We're
that
clear?
was great. That was fun. That was,
Yeah,
hold
so
on
much
just
science.
1 second. Let me just make